it. But I had something happen that, I'm so against clickbait, but this could be a valid click video, not as bait, but for the real thing. The last 3 years, I'm 48 now, the last 3 years that I've got my blood work done, every time the doctor says my cholesterol is high and I should watch, don't eat so many fried foods. And I think I don't eat fried, I mean, barely. Not that I'm against it, but barely. Not enough to have higher and higher and higher cholesterol. But I did have a lot of half and half cream in my coffee, and I drink coffee all day long. So this year, about a month before I was going to have my blood tests, I started with non-dairy creamers, which I did a different video, and I showed you, I think it was 5 or 6 of them that I tried. I tried a soy one, oat, and the thing, okay, I'm going to get ahead of myself. I've got a little page of notes, but I want to make this clear. Switching even for a month made an enormous difference. And I found out some things about dairy because I know there's a lot of people who already know a lot of things about dairy. And I'd heard this and that some people are lactose intolerant, and so they can just have lactate, which has an enzyme that basically breaks down the lactose, which is a milk sugar. And then I've learned some other things, which you may or may not know already, but I'll just kind of tell you them. So the problem was with the amount of saturated fat that was in the half and half cream that I was having all day long. In 2 tablespoons of half and half cream, there's 3.5 grams of fat, and 2 grams of that is saturated fat. So 2 tablespoons is 10% of your entire daily limit for saturated fat. That was a problem because if you just have some cups of coffee with some cream, that probably wouldn't be a problem, but then you eat food as well. And doing that every day, being at 100%, that's the limit. I think I went beyond that. So these creamers that I had, the silk one and the oat one, I think the coconut one and the silk one, in the video that I did, I read off the label and I put all the information underneath. I think they had some fat, but then the oat one is twofold. Basically, oats, I've seen on oats that it says if you have a bowl of oatmeal in the morning, it lowers cholesterol. There's little stars, and I did some reading on that, and that in the most layman's terms possible, oats will stick to cholesterol and yank it out. So in addition to not having cholesterol in them, they can act as somewhat of a cleaner of the cholesterol that's already present. So the oat creamer was actually the one out of the bunch that I tried that tasted amazing. And I wonder sometimes if our bodies crave things that we need. So it tasted the most amazing to me because I actually needed it. Because I'll tell you what my cholesterol was. Now, I don't know what yours is or what incredibly high is for my age, whatever it is, but it was in the red. So my LDL cholesterol was 143. And after a month of no half and half cream, it went to 95. My non-HDL cholesterol was 163. And again, after a month, it went to 113. No other changes whatsoever besides half and half cream out, creamer with no fat in. Overall cholesterol went from 226 to 175. And this went, I mean, it just looked like we were skiing downhill on all of them. They went from well in the red to well in the green. There you have it. Now, some other things that I learned about dairy and milk, because I had learned before about RBST, which was a hormone, synthetic hormone that was given to cows to increase the production of milk, and a lot of organic and non-organic will now say on it, no RBST, because they weren't sure by studying if it had gone into, if they give it to the cows and supposedly get more production of milk, but it would cause pain to the cows. And aside from that, it would then go into what we are consuming and increase different things going on with us. It's just a bad deal. But that was all I kind of knew. Now, get this. So milk has lactose, which is the milk sugar, just like in fruit, there's fructose. But the lactose is not the only difference in dairy products. Dairy products also have a protein called casein, and casein breaks down into what's called casomorphin. Morphin sounds like morphine, right? It is. It's an opioid. It's an actual opioid that opioids cause euphoria and pain relief. And this also can trigger the release of the soothing or bonding neurotransmitter called oxytocin. This would make sense because these are things that would be good for a mother and baby relationship, to have that bonding going on. But this may also be why, and there's some that say it's 100% for sure, and there's some that say it's not true at all. But this may be why, if someone is feeling a little lonely or wants to binge on something, or they say that they're addicted to cheese, they might actually be addicted to cheese. I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying it's true or not. There are many articles that say people are addicted to cheese, but just as many say that they're not. A lot of studies too, it was done in rats or it was done in petri dishes, so who knows. Okay, the other part is that the rumor is that milk and dairy products will increase mucus and it can affect sinuses. Me personally, hate to say this, because I drank half and half cream for 30 years every single day. But as soon as I switched to the oat, within maybe 1 or 2 days, I didn't know I had any sinus problems, but within 1 or 2 days, I woke up and way up here, I felt cool air coming in, and I felt like I'm really breathing. So that now I've sort of gotten used to since I haven't had the dairy, but I think that's probably the sinuses. And my eyes were kind of swollen sometimes in the morning, my eyelids, and that's been reduced almost immediately. Again, I'm not sure. I'm just reporting for what I experienced and what I've read online. Now, what I did find is there's, from the milk industry, it was like a complete denial about that milk and dairy increases mucus. Or maybe I shouldn't say denial, but they were saying the studies that they found, it didn't at all. But there were other studies that said that dairy increases intestinal mucus, and this is done as an inflammatory response. And the positive reason for that would be as an immune boost for baby cows, because if there's mucus in the intestinal tract, then it's going to trap a lot of, bacteria or viruses and push them out. So I think it's, does it cause inflammation? Does it cause euphoria and pain relief? Should you have it? Can you digest it? Oh, that was the other thing, is that lactose itself may become more and more indigestible as we age because we're not babies and milk is designed for babies. So is it digestible, not digestible? Can taking a probiotic help? Is it going to affect your sinuses? I would say the best thing to do, because I didn't really believe much. I was like, oh, I drink half and half every day. But my cholesterol was getting worse and worse. And apparently I had clogged sinuses and had no idea for who knows how long. So I think definitely if you have a lot of dairy and you want to see if it's having any health effects on you, then just go off of it. For easier said than done, right? But I really think that with all the studies and all the conflicting information out there, if you go on a complete dairy-free diet for 2 weeks and see how you feel and see if there's any difference in anything, then you'll probably be able to see more how it affects you. Or if you have high cholesterol and you have a lot of dairy, then try going completely dairy-free a month before, if you have yearly blood tests, a month before your yearly blood tests, and see if it makes a difference with yours as well. I was really shocked, and I was almost tempted to do one of those clickbait type thumbnails. I was shocked, but I'm not going to do that. But I really was shocked because it had been just this mystery to me every year of my cholesterol getting higher and higher, and I thought it was pretty healthy, but that seems to be the kicker. I did have some. I didn't wait until I was totally empty before I started the complete non-dairy thing. So I did have some half and half in the fridge. I thought I'll just taste it and see how it tastes. And it actually doesn't really taste as good. The reason why I didn't switch or try to do non-dairy stuff before is because I did try a few and I just didn't like the taste of them at all. And I thought, well, one thing I'm going to have is my great coffee with cream, and that's going to be my thing. But after not having any dairy for a couple weeks, I put a little half and half cream in a coffee just to see if it would taste any different. It didn't taste as good at all. So that was also a surprise. But I did recommend some of the creamers, and there's a lot also that I didn't try. There's just a giant wall of them at Whole Foods. And from a few years ago when I tried them, back then I tried a soy one, I think, and I don't think the coconut and almond ones were available back then, or the oat definitely wasn't available. So I think it was mostly soy, and there was a whole bunch of stuff that came out about soy, if it's good or bad for you or not. But it didn't taste that good, and it also broke apart and got clumpy in the coffee. These ones, none of them did. So whatever they're doing now, they're mostly natural as far as I can tell. But whatever they're doing now, it's so much more like cream. It doesn't taste exact, but the one, that sown one, I think it tastes better. And that one I'm stuck on now. So hope you found this video helpful. And actually, if you have any dairy or dairy-free information, you have any experience, if you've gone off of it at all, I'd love to hear what your experience was in the comments, because I think, there's certain dietitians or vegans or doctors or people that work for the milk industry, and they'll say things that are 100% certain and for sure, but really it's going to be to the individual. And I'd kind of like to hear more just from other people and share what we've learned by our own experience. Why not? All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day.